Welcome back to Uplink on this beautiful June 10th. Today, we will be your guides through the latest, not E3 times, but instead the Summer Game Fest
And it
times.
really feels like summer outside. It is so hot
Yeah,
outside.
it's the worst. For those of you who don't know, we're in Texas. Uh, it's just ungodly hot outside. I'm not okay with it, and I will be protesting the sun.
Yeah, yeah. I, I don't think we need it.
Yeah.
No, we don't need the sun. We've evolved past the need for the sun.
Look, I've been avoiding the sun most of my life. So it's turned out all right so far.
Right. Yeah. This is why we're talking about video games on a podcast. We avoided the sun.
I'm on the pinnacle of health. So, but yeah, we're going to be talking about all the latest reveals from Summer Game Fest, as well as the PlayStation State of Play that happened last week, and then we're going to kind of make some predictions about what we still have left. Now, the thing with E3 no longer being a thing is that
That's so weird. I still can't get over that.
well, they're coming back next year. Apparently, I don't know why.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know who's going to participate.
Obsolete.
Is the problem, but it's a good and a bad thing. E3 had become a gross version of what it had previously been. It stopped being about consumers, started being about ads and stuff, and Game Fest and the Game Awards kind of suffer from that a little bit, but not as much. But it was an organized conglomerate. Everything happened all at the same time in the same place. So you had E3 week, you know?
Yeah.
Now, you got Summer Game Fest, the State of Play and or a Sony event, your Xbox live stream, the Devolver Digital live stream, the Tribeca Film Festival live stream, the Future Games live stream, the I don't remember what the other ones were. IGN Summer of Games.
That was going on today as we record this, right?
So it's just now. Netflix Geeked, which is a thing now because Netflix is launching a gaming portion of their subscription.
Yeah, they were like, "Hey, do you want to just play a chess game that you can just play online for free?"
You guys remember the Queen's Gambit? You like the Queen's Gambit? What if chess was a real game?
Yeah. What if what if we reinvented? Listen to me really closely. What about chess?
You guys ever heard of the 200,000+ game? You know, what if that? But sometimes
the thing with that is you can watch the Queen's Gambit and then you can go online and you can find a free chess. You
can find free chess all over.
Yeah, you can find a free chess simulator on like freetoPlayGames.com or whatever.
I mean, there was like statistics that showed that chess games jumped in popularity.
Oh yeah, it was
a good show.
Yeah, it was, but like we've evolved past the need to have Netflix like sell us a game. You know, I don't know.
You ever seen Quantum Chess?
No.
There's a game on Steam called Quantum Chess, which takes place. So there's like, I don't even know how to describe it really because I don't understand it super well, but it's like 5D chess, but you can go like time travel and open quantum vortexes for certain moves. So then you're playing on like 36 chessboards at the same time, but some of the chessboards are happening before the chessboard that you're currently playing.
I hate that. I'm not even good at real chess. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's I'm reading the Steam reviews for that where someone's like accidentally stumbled onto this thinking it was normal chess. My brain hurts and I have a physics degree now.
Oh man. Talk about the state of play is interesting. I mean, we were talking about all like how E3 is gone, so all of these, it almost feels like studios will just start doing their own thing eventually. But some studios don't have that much money, but basically Xbox and PlayStation do their own sort of thing. But doesn't Sony do state of play every month?
Not every month. They do them normally specifically for like big reveals.
I just know there was one in May, and then now there was
there was one in May that was kind of to show off the up and coming games. No, it was back. That was in March. But so yeah, I mean they do them every so often, normally like once a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But the state of play this time, for me, felt like the Sony had kind of stolen this thunder from what um Game Fest was even going to be capable of, because Game Fest typically has all these big third party reveals in it, but Sony, like, they didn't hardly participate as a first party developer in that reveal. Most of the reveals were third party. You know, Resident Evil 4 remake. You had Final Fantasy 16 gameplay. You had a bunch of the VR titles that are coming to the PSVR 2. But
Yeah.
a lot of it was centered on things that weren't Sony owned. The Street Fighter 6 reveal was there. That was that was a big deal. They fixed the logo so it's not someone's stolen Photoshop artwork.
Yeah, we talked about that like 5 episodes ago, and we couldn't even show it
Insane.
to you because we didn't have video on. But it's terrible.
Yeah,
It's
bad.
comically bad. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. It's comically bad.
They fixed it. It's graffiti style. And so, yeah, I mean, for me, I think Street Fighter was the thing I found most interesting from that state of play. I'm all for Final Fantasy 16. I like the idea of the evolved combat coming to that game that's going to feature more of the style from like Devil May Cry.
It looked fun. I'm never been a Street Fighter guy, barely a Mortal Kombat guy.
Yeah.
So, platform fighting games never been my like cup of tea. I love playing it on like arcade, like the original Street Fighter, but it looked nice. Like it looked really good.
Well, and it was
the open world doesn't look great.
The open world's weird, and I like it's funny because right before the state of play happened, Robbie and I were talking about how there had been this trend recently of taking a game that had an established genre and then just forcing it into an open world for no reason. Just deciding that it needed to be open world now because the linear stuff is too linear and it might result in people not having to spend 90 hours walking across the map.
It looked like something, I don't know if you remember, it looked like something, what was that movie, or that game, and it's going to escape me, and this is great radio. Something...
Sleeping Dogs?
Sleeping Dogs. How did you... It looked like Sleeping Dogs from like 2000... I was going to say Reservoir Dogs, but that's a movie.
Yeah.
But no, it looked like...
Sleeping Dogs is becoming a movie.
Yeah, it looked like that, but Sleeping Dogs is from like what, 2011?
13.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
I'm shocked you knew what that was.
I heard the D sound when you're like, duh. And I was like, oh, Sleeping Dogs, yeah. Be an excellent trivia guesser for things that sound like video games.
No, it looked like Sleeping Dogs from like 2011, which is like fine because Sleeping Dogs is awesome. But
it's a great game.
But it was also made in 2011.
Yeah, I think that the idea is that instead of having the world map where you fly between the different areas for the fights, now there's some interim fights that you fight, NPC characters. Where before you get to like the major fights to kind of build out the world, so you're not just like hopping on a plane and flying to the next place every so often. I like the idea of the dynamic fights. I think that's interesting. But the thing that stood out to me is just the flow. My problem with Street Fighter has always been this weird stuttery style combat where you get a hit and on impact there's a small like freeze frame of like the artwork up for a second. And it makes for a weird dynamic for me.
Yeah.
Like Mortal Kombat is flow. Hit, go. Tekken is also a lot of the same. There are moves that have like iframes where you can kind of see like there's like a stop on the hit.
Yeah.
But like Street Fighter's always been the least connected. Mm-hmm. But I think this one does a really good job of making it look flowing, and I'm trying to think of anything else that really stood out to me, but like, don't get me wrong, the Resident Evil 4 remake is awesome.
To me, Roller Dome was the one that stood out.
Completely forgot about
Roller Dome, small indie, or I think it's a small indie studio, but
yeah, it was like Tony Hawk Pro Skater meets My Name is Pedro.
Yeah, they called it Skate Parks turn into bullet-ridden combat arenas in futuristic blood sport roller dome.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
And it has it's in 3D, but it has that 2D animation style.
It's like 2.5D almost.
Yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. Once you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But you're basically doing rollerball for that movie, if you remember from a long time ago. But you have guns and you're flipping around and shooting people, and it looked really. I was like, it looked like something I would spend a little bit of money on, actually, or if it was just released, it looked like it'd be really fun to play. But yeah, Roller Dome kind of stood out to me. State of Play released the Castillo or
Callisto.
Castillo. Callisto Protocol. They also went over that on.
They did the extended cut of the trailer, and they showed the first gameplay at Game Fest. But
we can talk about that then. But some other stuff. No Man's Sky is PSVR, which I imagine if any one of those games that have been made directly for a console. No Man's Sky lends itself probably best to VR.
Resident Evil Village is also coming to PSVR too.
So is Horizon Call of the Mountain?
Stray, the cat detective game set in a cyberpunk city, it looks fantastic and is coming for free to the top 2 tiers of PlayStation Plus. So that's pretty rad. That's one of the ones we've been pretty anticipating heavily this year.
What do we think about Marvel, Spider-Man going to PC? That seems really.
It's good.
It's good. It's awesome for gamers. It's just kind of a weird thing.
So, I think it's one of those things where we are so used to console exclusives remaining console exclusive, but there's a wider PC market that has remained untapped for Sony until recently, and they've shown that like their Horizon Zero Dawn port. The port of God of War and Uncharted have all sold exceptionally well. So I'm not surprised to see continued support for this. They said in their quarterly meeting at the beginning of the year that was going to be a big part of their investment. I don't think I don't know why people care, but people who are worried that PlayStation's going to stop making exclusives, I think that's patently ridiculous, because what they're doing is releasing games that came out 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
They have no intention of releasing a game.
This isn't hurting their sales.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to do it. Microsoft releases their Xbox exclusives on PC day and date. So same day, same date, exact same time, releases on both. Sony has no plans to do that because they don't need to. The sales will be there for the PlayStation, and then there'll be that time where everyone's talking about how great it was on PlayStation, and those who hold out not getting it on PlayStation will be like, okay, but maybe this one will come to PC. Yeah. So when it does come to PC, it'll be met with equal hype.
I'm not a PC gamer, never have been. Yeah, PS5 looks great, but everybody that always talk, you're not really gaming until you game on a PC. I'm gonna tell you what, I bet I kind of subscribe to the theory that it does look a lot better.
Like, you get a lot more power.
Yeah,
but does power make it more fun?
No, absolutely not. I hate clicking on a keyboard.
Right. For me, the most comfortable setup is a controller. And a keyboard and mouse. I know you can.
You can use an Xbox controller on it.
I don't care. My thing is like,
we know you're right, but we don't care.
I used to want to be a PC player, but now I'm like, it's been ingrained into me so hard for so long that PC is the master race or whatever for gaming that I've now become patently against it. I'm just like, I don't care about that. Just give me a good game. And as long as there's good exclusives coming out on the consoles, I will never care that PC is more powerful, because power does not equal good games.
Right. And, what I was going to say is all of that to say, I bet it looks great on PC. I bet Spider-Man looks amazing. Incredible.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
And it's the remaster. They're getting the full remaster. So, but that was State of Play. Let's move on to what Jeff Keighley promised was the main event, but what I walked away feeling kind of like was a pretty big letdown overall.
I have nothing to compare it to, so you're gonna have to tell me why.
The last couple of years have been a lot bigger, and I know that the pandemic contributed a little bit to the wane in reveals, so then we got a lot of reveals all at once last year, but Man, there was just not a lot here this year. The Modern Warfare 2 stuff looked cool. That's fine.
I was
But
actually kind of impressed by that. I know we talked Call of Duty to death,
yeah,
but I was pretty impressed by the flow
yeah,
of the gameplay trailer. It looked really pretty seamless.
the
Actually,
visuals and the presentation were great, but I don't think it was presented in a way that really got me hyped up. And honestly, the thing that got me excited wasn't even the gameplay. It was the stuff after the fact where he was like, "Oh yeah, we invented all new water simulation for this game, so the water randomly affects the way cover moves and stuff. So waves will hit the side of the ship, and that'll affect the way the containers move." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." But that was the most exciting thing to me. The gameplay itself was fine, but it just reminded me that this is Modern Warfare 2
is it a
again.
I don't understand.
We had this conversation. Me and Alex had this conversation.
Is it a remake or is it not a remake?
So
because the first one 5 years ago wasn't a remake, but they had all the same characters who died in the last. I don't know what happened.
It's a reboot, but also a
continuation.
So the first Modern Warfare so not the first Modern Warfare, but Modern Warfare 2019 is set before the events of Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare. And so this Modern Warfare 2 will have to handle the events of both Modern Warfare 1 and 2 to some extent.
They're still there. They're alive.
Yeah, right. So this must be taking place in the Modern Warfare time period, but Soap is there and Price is there. So Price hasn't been to prison because you're not breaking, or Soap hasn't been to prison because you're not breaking him out of prison. So then that must mean that we're so it's a
they
whole
have
thing.
No idea what they just.
And I heard Shepard's Commander Shepard's voice. Commander Shepard's voice in the background. He's like, "Get it done. You know what you have to do." And I was like, "Hey, isn't that Shepard?" And I was like, "Oh man, we're gonna have to watch that again." So it was cool. I'm excited for it, but it wasn't exciting. Like we knew about it already, and part of the excitement of these big things is getting to see things that we didn't know about. Unfortunately, what could have arguably been their biggest reveal was the Last of Us remake, and it leaked 2 hours before the show. I mean, I feel really bad for everyone who worked on that, who spent time getting that reveal hype ready, and then to have it leak 2 hours before that.
As is the case with The Last of Us, didn't their entire plot basically leak?
Yeah.
From The Last of Us 2, and then nerds online.
Well, parts of the detail, parts of the first half of the game leaked, and people were like, "Ugh, I hate that."
Their strongman was killed with a golf club, and so they pooped their pants. Spoiler alert for a game that came out 2 years ago. That was the most frustrating thing in the world with that game. We'll talk about but I was thinking about that yesterday. I'm just getting mad online about people just like
didn't even give
it was a brilliant game, but people didn't even give it a chance.
Oh yeah, it was incredible.
Their favorite character died, and then it was just
it's not even, and he was the bad guy.
Yeah, well,
we'd have to get into that at a different time because that's a whole conversation to take an hour. But here's the thing: I can't believe they're going to make me pay $70 for this again. And when I say they're going to make me, I understand
voluntarily
that is a voluntary commitment. But I can't believe that they're going to make me pay $70 for this again.
I will gladly do it,
but I'm going to do it.
So best game I've ever played.
Look, my friend Christian has platinumed the game twice already, on PS3 and PS4. And given the opportunity, I asked him, "So are you gonna buy it?" He said, "Yeah, I can't not have that platinum."
Yeah.
So that's this. On one hand, that's who this audience or this release is for. On the other hand, this is a great way for people who have not previously experienced The Last of Us to get the best possible version, because it's not just a remaster. This is a full remake of the game from the ground up, built on the engine used to create The Last of Us Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of unifying. Yeah. Great. It was graphically, it was insane.
And the gameplay flow and everything else was...
So updated AI elements, updated UI elements, some streamlined effects, hundreds of accessibility options to allow more people to be able to experience the game better, and completely redone animations, gameplay assets, everything from the ground up 100%.
Characters look a lot different too.
Yeah.
That is interesting. It was because
they were able to use the actual actors' faces more.
Yeah,
Like they
more
did for
so.
The Last of Us Part 2.
Right, so it looks like Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson, but
I do think it's weird that they gave Joel a little more gray in his beard.
yeah, because he's a
not
younger
that old,
guy.
yeah.
It's weird. But it does. It looks from what we were able to see. They released a trailer, right?
Yeah, they
right.
did.
Yeah.
Eventually, they did.
They're just like whatever.
They did actually release a trailer, but it was available to be seen for a good little bit. What's worse is that Sony Direct is the reason it leaked, which is Sony's like
is there?
Yeah, it's their store.
Yeah. Well, no, it is Sony's lot in life to have plots and things leaked. Go look at go look at their movie studio circa 2013.
So bad.
But I'm excited, man. Like I know like the $70 thing or whatever, but like I have the remaster for PS4 and I've just held on to it I haven't even, and you can get it free on the PlayStation Store, but I still have that disc, that hard copy. Yeah. So I'm the nerd that's like sitting around with like actual media,
for sure,
tangible media. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the show.
The show looks good.
They released a still image of the show. Now I've been following it forever, so I've seen Twitter stuff of like, of people like outside on top of their roof, like taking pictures of Pedro Pascal. But like, I'm really excited for the show too, as well. Even though it's the game itself is a movie in and of itself, so it's kind of interesting.
I'm interested to see where it goes, but we got to move on from The Last of Us. I talk about it forever, but I think that the unofficial theme here of this year's Game Fest was sci-fi and or space horror, because
it was all of it.
Oh my god, there were like 9 space horror games and like
Alien
back-to-back reveals. Callisto Protocol had obviously the biggest showing, but the Alien, there was one that was announced like 15 years ago
with Troy Baker. Speaking of,
Fort Solace looks interesting. They didn't show a whole lot of it though.
Routine
was the one I was talking about that was announced like 13 years ago. There were a couple of
Goat Simulator 3.
I mean, naturally that was a big one for me.
No, we were talking about the Callisto Protocol a little bit, and I just watched the trailer for that. The gameplay of that looks sick.
Yeah, it's the creative minds behind the original Dead Space are working on this. So not only are we
Dead Space was a game that I couldn't even get through the first level of because it was so scary.
Good luck with this one, because this guy's taking
I'm older now, more mature.
I believe in you.
Thank you.
I'll hold your hand, don't worry. But yeah, not only are we getting Callisto Protocol, but we're also getting a Dead Space remake. So we'll have back-to-back Dead Space experiences, because the Dead Space remake is due out in January of next year.
That cutscene when he gets ripped through the turbine or whatever is insane. But I don't know, just the sound of it, and like the 6-shooter gun that he has, and the
gravity gun thing.
Yeah, it was a really interesting concept, and the zombies look gross or whatever they are.
I like the setting. I like that you're more exposed and you're not like a scientist or something. You're on like a...
Yeah, it's like Doom or whatever.
Yeah.
You feel less helpless, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
It's more of a shooter than it is like a runaway.
It is. There's a lot of horror to it, because you can see how many... It reminds me of Resident Evil almost, in how much damage these things take to actually take down, because you see... does a headshot, then he does an arm shot and a leg shot.
He shoots off his legs and he crawls, and then one of the things crawls to him. It was gross.
I hate the crawling.
But then they gravity gunned him and threw him through. I keep saying him through the thing, through a turbine, which was really cool. But yeah, it was a lot of space horror. I mean, the Alien thing that didn't even get a gameplay trailer, but yeah, I don't know.
I think another thing that kind of surprised me, that like the only thing, there were a couple games that surprised me that I was interested in. Witchfire, which is reminds me of like Doom meets Elden Ring.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And it looks super freaking.
It's Elden Ring with guns.
Yeah, I mean it looks super cool. But it's it's PC only to start with, so another mark against the consoles.
The big L for us.
God, it's not fair.
Big L.
And then a game I continue to be surprised that I'm interested in, Marvel's Midnight Suns, from the XCOM developers. They revealed Spider-Man is joining the team, but also Venom, Hulk, and a few others are
Blade,
part of the enemy team instead of being on the. So you're gonna be fighting like Venom and demonized Hulk. So it's turn based, it's tactical, but I'm interested. Normally this wouldn't get me, but this one's got me.
Speaking of Midnight Suns, just to go in the opposite direction of DC, how are you like? Midnight Suns looks fine. I'm not quite there with all of the non-Sony PS game or Marvel games.
Yeah.
I'm not quite there yet. But Gotham Knights doesn't catch my attention
The more I see of it, the less interested I'm becoming.
Right.
I was initially very excited about the idea of co-op Arkham gameplay, but now that I've seen a good chunk of it, I just something about it feels wrong.
Yeah.
It feels off. It feels unweighted, I guess would be a good way to say it. It reminds me of how I felt when I first played the Avengers game. Famously infamously, Marvel's Avengers game did not hit the mark because it did not really make you. There were a lot of bullet spongy kind of enemies, repetitive gameplay. This
repetitive gameplay
a
thing.
lot like that. I get heavy vibes from that, and I feel like it's best summed up by a tweet I saw. I can't remember your name. I know you're not watching the show. But, if you were, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. But he said, nothing screams superhero power trip like seeing a random sock drop off an enemy that increases my hit damage a little bit more. Like, yeah, stats are boring. I don't want them in my superhero games.
Yeah.
It ruins the power trip of being a superhero.
I wasn't ever the biggest. I know I played a little bit of the Arkham games. I wasn't ever the biggest into them, but I know people love those games.
I'm a huge fan of the Arkham games,
and they're brilliant from what I've played. I haven't just played all the way through them, but this one doesn't really hold my attention that much. It's also baffling, kind of the marketing that they've done for this.
It's real weird.
It's been real they've rolled it out super slowly.
I think that they felt like they had a bigger punching or a heavier punch coming down the road with the Suicide Squad game.
I was gonna say I'm more excited about the Suicide Squad.
That looks legitimately good.
Yeah.
But this Gotham Knights game I feel like they're having to scramble to rush through to get it done so they can make the 2022 deadline. I feel like they're trying to figure out what their marketing tactic here even is, but they just don't have one.
Yeah.
And it's turned into this thing. So, I mean, to kind of wrap up the Game Fest, because there's really not a whole lot else that was revealed there that I can think of.
Last of Us multiplayer.
Yeah, we will be getting a Last of Us multiplayer eventually.
Which I don't know how that's going to work, but
has evolved into a whole new mode, and to the point where it's gone beyond just being a game mode. They said that it's going to have its own story, its own world and stuff. So we'll be interested in looking out for that. But other than that, they're just I give it like a C here. It's just not. It was not as good as I was hoping.
I have nothing to compare. You watched the entire thing. Mm-hmm. I had to go back and watch the trailers and stuff.
I live tweeted the whole thing.
Yeah, I know. Getting paid to do that, but
I should have been, dang.
Right. No, the going back and looking at it. I mean, I am a sucker for a Last of Us anything, so I guess that always will hold near and dear to my heart. But other than that, I'm not super excited for.
Yeah, Gal's cone haircut just couldn't get me in there.
It's also and it's also what you're bringing out Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson to say, hey, we're also in the Last of Us TV series or something
which
cool. Thanks.
Cool, I guess, but
we're real people in this.
Hey, where's the big reveals here? Because this should have been for me,
you know what it is that it got spoiled for you early.
Yeah, I mean that was part of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, that took it down.
I still don't think it would have been a big enough reveal for me to be like, oh, that was your ending here.
Okay.
Because that was their one more thing, and then they came back after that and they started talking again, and it was like, oh, so your one more thing wasn't enough to cap off, but you don't have anything else left.
I don't have a grade for it. Incomplete for me because I wasn't able to watch it.
You do not pass.
Yeah. It is. I'm excited for some of these games. Some of them I'm not. Hot take.
I want to see some of these things.
Cuphead, sure.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Sure, Cuphead. Devolver's Digital's thing was pretty cool. A little cringy here and there with their skit comedy hour that they did, but I do appreciate a lot of the games. They showed this one called Plucky Squire. It's apparently from a Pokemon artist who's gone on. It looks so freaking cool. It's like it takes place primarily on a children's storybook. So you play from page to page. The gameplay changes. The boss fights are completely different from each other, and then you reach this portal at the end, and it pops out, and now you're running around in this kid's room in like a 3D diorama style.
Plucky Squire?
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Do you want to talk about the Xbox Bethesda stuff, or do you want to wait until that actually...
Well, let's go ahead and make some predictions.
GoldenEye.
Yeah, for sure GoldenEye. The rumors have been abound. I can't imagine that they would miss out an opportunity, and I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb, and they're going to say that is the original GoldenEye for N64 is coming to Nintendo Switch online, which I think will be a fun surprise. While like the remaster is coming to Switch and Xbox.
Well, yeah, because they had a GoldenEye remaster years ago, right?
There was one in the works. So there was a remake. That was just GoldenEye or GoldenEye Reloaded was just bad Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So this is most likely Rare is actually working on this.
Not for nothing, guys. The only reason, though, that the first GoldenEye was very, very good was the multiplayer. Yeah. I know that's saying, well, the only reason the 1920s Yankees were good was because they had Babe Ruth, but it's like...
Dude, go back and try to play it now, though. It has been objectively destroyed by the passage of time. I mean,
yeah,
I cannot do that controller
anymore. It is side-scrolling, and it's like jumpy.
You've got to give me a better controller.
The N64 and the N64... No, duh.
It would be really funny, though, if they're like, with GoldenEye Remastered...
Hey, you know how people have two hands? Let's put a third.
From now on, all Xbox controllers, in order to play the GoldenEye Remaster, you have to attach a third dongle to the center of your controller.
It's so weird. Such a weird controller. I didn't even know how to hold that. But I'll be interested to see how that goes if it's like a remaster of like the game, which I don't know how you bring that all the way back, but I guess they did it with like Tony Hawk's or whatever.
Yeah,
so
I think we'll see the first footage for. I think we'll see some underwhelming stuff. I think we'll see the Hot Wheels DLC for Forza. We'll probably see the first footage of co-op mode for Halo Infinite months after its release.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only big we'll probably see a little bit of gameplay from Starfield, maybe.
Anything Fallout?
I'm not sure, honestly. I think that the stigma around Fallout right now is not great, and with the recent stories coming out about how much crunch was pushed onto the team for Fallout 76 and how they took people away from Starfield to work on that game, I think it would be a bad time to talk Fallout. So I expect that we'll see some Starfield, maybe some Redfall from Arcane. GoldenEye is going to be, I think, their big reveal there, and I think we might see maybe some early gameplay from the Indiana Jones game being developed by Machine Games.
What?
Yo, you didn't know? Yeah, Machine Games is developing a
I feel like Indiana I knew this, but like wasn't the only thing was like it was like a trailer of like his hat or something.
A trailer of his hat and his whip.
Right. Okay. I did know this, but I didn't. I put it out of my mind.
Yeah. So that's in the works. I think we maybe get like an early trailer for that, or maybe some early gameplay. It wouldn't be really that surprising if EA got in on the action here and maybe showed off some more Star Wars related stuff or something like that.
I mean, they revealed we never talked about it, but they revealed a lot of potential Star Wars games.
Oh yeah, there's a ton
from Star Wars Fest.
Yeah, there was a ton of stuff at Star Wars Fest, and Jedi Survivor looks.
So Fallen Order 2.
Yeah, looks incredible. I'm excited for it. It's set 5 years after that game, but I don't think that'll be there. I think we will see something probably from EA as part of their partnership for marketing and stuff. Perfect Dark might make an appearance, but there's been rumors that game's not going super great, so we'll see. But I'm thinking that there might still be a few big reveals that are hidden that aren't going to be in these conferences. reports are coming out that God of War has officially nailed down its release date for a November timeline.
I am shocked we didn't get anything God of. Did we get something God of War from State of Play?
Not this time.
Right.
We got a trailer shortly before that State of Play that was talking about accessibility options for the new God of War.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
But also weird. Because it wasn't like also part of a bigger announcement. It was just, we're also doing accessibility, which is great, but weird timing. But yeah, rumors are that they've basically said, okay, Starfield's not launching in November anymore. Let's take the November release date.
How long has Starfield been in the works?
So Starfield was announced in 2017. I think 2017. But it had allegedly been in the works since before then. So it's probably been 5-6 years now.
Do you know what's the game? And I don't know if it ever came out. What was it? Squadron 60 something or another. Had every big actor known to man was in it. And I don't know if it ever even came out.
Oh yeah. Star Squadron, Star Citizen.
Squadron 42.
Squadron 42, that's what it was, yeah.
It
Mark Hamill and
it has Gary Oldman, Mark Hamill, Mark Strong, John Rhys Davis.
Yeah, it never came out.
Ben Mendelsohn. It has huge Andy Serkis. And it never came out. I don't yeah.
Yeah, its funding I think is still in the works. I think that's the game that the
pre-alpha.
The game director is horrendous about feature creep. Where he just he thinks of new ideas constantly. He's like, oh, you gotta add this to the end. They're like, well, I'm still working on this other thing you asked about yesterday. And they're like, but stop that, make this. And he's like, are you done with that other thing? I stopped it to make this other thing. Shut up and make that.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Sorry, that just came to mind because anytime I'll go on IMDb and look at some of these actors' IMDb, they'll be like Squadron 42, and that just came to my mind.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah, that game is never coming out.
I don't have anything else.
We might see some. I would be surprised if we saw any Activision Blizzard stuff. I think that would be a little too on the nose of the Xbox thing. So my guesses are Perfect Dark, maybe a Banjo-Kazooie remaster.
Hey.
For sure GoldenEye remaster that I'm putting 10 out of 10, 100%. That's gonna happen.
That's gonna happen.
I guarantee it. And if I'm wrong, Royden can shoot me with this Nerf gun.
With an actual gun.
I turned around and saw the axe behind me.
Yeah.
And I was like, probably
not. Probably not the thing that would kill you. I don't want to go to jail. Yeah, I'm excited for the GoldenEye thing. I don't have an Xbox, so
I hope it's true. I have one. It's right here.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see. I don't have anything else. Do you?
No, that's it. But so for all the latest gaming news and previews and reviews, keep it locked to Uplink and Hardwired.
It's completely natural.
Yeah, I 100% scripted, you know? I'm reading off a prompter. You subscribe, like, watch us on KWTXtra, and keep an eye out. There's some cool things coming down the line that I've got in the works, and we'll get to reveal more on that later.
Thanks for listening and watching.
Bye.